Hello everyone, it's Oliver Harper here, and I'm joined by Sean David Lowe and Christopher Stratton to discuss Fight to Survive: The Legacy of Bloodsport. So, why are we making this documentary? I think during the course of The Untold Story of No Retreat, No Surrender, our previous documentary, there was a lot of discussion about what we would do next, and many people were asking us, even during the making of No Retreat documentary, what are you going to do next? And I think Bloodsport was sort of this kind of logical step, because No Retreat, early appearance of Jean-Claude, his next big feature was Bloodsport, and that really was the movie that kickstarted his career. And I think for many of us who may have not seen No Retreat, No Surrender, Bloodsport was the one that sort of captured you and sort of spurred you on your imagination to want to get into martial arts or to watch other action movies. And Van Damme was this new guy that had the muscles of Arnold Schwarzenegger but could move like Bruce Lee.
Never seen such a beautiful slow motion kick in our lives till Bloodsport. That was ballet.
Exactly.
For young adult, for young men.
What we also have to tell the audience is that for us to decide on a new project is not that easy, because there are so many factors that have to come together in order for us to be a good next step. Like on the one side, we always look, at least at the moment, we look at the 40-year anniversary windows, which also help us in order. I mean, you guys, all the documentaries, they're a lot of fun, but they're also a lot of work. And you don't get rich making them. It's not like the three of us are driving our Porsches. We're lucky if we make some pocket change at the end of the day.
We're lucky if we can eat, yeah?
Yes, so be sure the three of us, we do it out of pure passion. And we also want to make sure that each of us has a big heart for the project that we do, so that we can all give 100%. We're looking for the 40-year anniversary window, at least for the moment. And we're also looking for something where we think, okay, the story probably hasn't been told completely yet, or there's so many different versions of the story. Let's try to figure out what's the right one, if possible. So yeah, Bloodsport was the one where we felt, okay, we have to tackle that one. It's just, I mean, we all are suckers for Jean-Claude Van Damme. So it's not only the slow motion splits and all that kind of stuff, but that guy was awesome. I have so many movies, double and triple, like without me even noticing while I bought them. I just saw them again. Oh, I have to buy that one. So yeah, was a logical choice for us, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. The movie's amazing, and the story is very interesting of how it got made. So definitely worth telling.
Yeah, because it was this. It brought new life to sort of the tournament kind of storyline, right? Because we had Enter the Dragon, which was like over a decade previous, to Bloodsport, and that was a mix of Hong Kong action with essentially a James Bond movie. It was like Dr. No meets Hong Kong action, and this solely focused on a tournament. I don't think anyone had really sort of dabbled in that. There may have been something that may have not hit, that's gone under, that went under the radar, but in terms of just a very straightforward tournament movie, which we saw over the years, very quickly after Bloodsport came out, all these knockoff movies, and then you got things in the media sort of being inspired by it, especially like Mortal Kombat, where Frank Duke's Jean-Claude's character was essentially Johnny Cage. So you got this, the movie, was a big hit for Canon, and then it would end up inspiring loads of other stuff.
That was what was genius about it. The most genius thing was all the different styles, because no one had seen that. It was awesome. It was like being in the playground and everyone's got their... It's like Marvel superheroes for us in the 80s, that was. Seeing different kinds of badass fighters do their style. It's wonderful, and I think that was one of the huge selling points of it.
Absolutely. I mean, I have never seen anything like that before. I didn't even have in mind that there's a possibility that you can see different styles fighting against each other, because you always, like when you're in the playground in school, you always think like, yeah, I have that style. No, your style can't be stronger than mine. Obviously, none of us could do martial arts, but in our mind,
back then we could. Yeah,
of course. So just
mate, I swear I did a hurricane kick.
Actually seeing different styles fighting each other, and then actually shown in a beautiful artistic way, I have never seen something like that, and to be honest, on that level, never again.
What's interesting, because it was Hong Kong cinema around that time. Jackie Chan was doing a lot of really amazing stuff, but Bloodsport was through the lens of an American kind of filmmakers, but it didn't seem to sort of fall into that American way of shooting action and fight scenes. It had a very much a behind the camera and how things were staged, very much more of a Hong Kong style, which kind of makes it sort of stand the test of time.
Did you guys notice actually how a lot of the editing was actually really bad? Like, it broke editing rules constantly. Like, they would, like, I know, but it worked perfectly. We didn't care. It was a proof that the editing rules don't work, but they constantly swap the angle. So like, Bolo would be on this side, Van Damme would be on that side. The next shot they'd be the opposite side. The next shot they'd be the opposite side. And those are the rules of confusion you don't usually do. And I was watching
but it works.
Yeah, no, I was watching it. I was like, you know what? It's fucking great.
It's swapping the axis, isn't it? That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, I think a fight choreographer will get very annoyed if that happened now in a modern film.
Yeah.
But you can get away with it back then.
It goes to show you, if the emotion's there, the music's there, and the edit still flows with each move into the next frame, it can work.
Another part of the process of making this and storytelling is Canon Films, because that is an interesting point of their sort of timeline, because they'd all had all this success in the mid-80s, and then they just splurged all their cash buying Thorn EMI and Canon and LG Studios and all these cinema chains, and then they had 2 or 3 big box office bombs really with Over the Top, Superman and Masters of the Universe. We're kind of in a bit of a rut, and then they sort of come back a little bit thanks to Jean-Claude with Bloodsport and Cyborg, and then they sort of had loads of other problems around that time with I think Italian finance and MGM merging with Canon. So it was that point of Canon is really interesting to me. So that is another sort of element that I want to explore.
I mean, we are all Canon fans, so every time we have an excuse to include Canon in our documentaries, we have to do it. Like, we're basically just looking for any excuse to get as much Canon into our work as possible. But it is because Canon is awesome, and we have, and that was one of the biggest honors of my life. I mean, we have Jurm Globus, one of the 2 Go-Go Boys, in the documentary. He hardly does any interviews. I'm still very grateful. So if there's any chance you hear it, Jurm, thanks again for doing the interview.
Thank you.
And obviously now we're getting first-hand information, and Jurm has some very interesting opinions, slightly different to what we know, what we think to know. So that's also something that we can offer in the documentary, which is also what I would like to include now, telling our supporters, or hopefully soon to be supporters, what they can expect with the work that we're doing. Who do we have? Where we're going with the documentary? What is our vision for this? Because as you guys probably have heard, we're running a Kickstarter campaign for this, because we put all of our money into until the point where we are right now. But in order to finish it, and we have a vision for it, which is not that cheap, we need your guys' support. But
you've seen sort of what we've got so far in our kind of high octane trailer. Obviously, you've seen a snippet of it, and you can see already, like, the documentary's halfway made and it's already interesting. So the fact that we're going to have like at least another 10 interviews, is it, we're going to put in?
Yeah, hopefully even more, because more and more people pop up that have some interesting stuff.
Well, yeah, we're getting like messages. Could be people coming out of the woodwork going, "Oh, I was in the film. Do you want to, have a chat about it?" Like, yes.
Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of documentaries and sort of mini docs made on YouTube and things, which is always sort of secondhand knowledge and hearsay and rumors. So we really want to make the most definitive story of Bloodsport and tell that story in the most entertaining and fun way we can, but also with brand new information that people haven't heard before in different angles. And I think we're going to accomplish that because we already are. So it's very exciting.
Because we want to definitely bring over the style and approach we'd done with No Retreat, No Surrender over to Bloodsport, because they're, very similar and, both in the same genre.
It's still tongue-in-cheek.
It feels, very still tongue-in-cheek. Not as say, sort of goofy as No Retreat because of the sort of Hong Kong style comedy, but it is Bloodsport is very much got, it doesn't take itself too seriously. And it's like, and when it's funny, it is funny. It wants to be funny.
It is.
And
it is still funny looking back.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely funny. Yeah, it's
but funny on purpose.
Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny on purpose. Yeah.
You're laughing. You're laughing with it, not at it.
Yeah.
Another thing that we have, which I think is also a huge benefit in the documentary, I think we have a great atmosphere of talent in front of the camera, like people who really want to tell the story. It's not like we had to drag them in front of the camera, but they actually were willing to share stories that we have never heard before. They were really, really engaged and happy to be part of this, which is always really important to have a good documentary. I mean, our No Retreat, No Surrender documentary really benefited from that, to have that kind of energy. And I think we have the same type of energy there. Plus, I mean, I would always consider myself to be a huge Bloodsport geek. Like, I always thought, okay, I know basically almost everything. But with the footage that we have, and some new people that showed up with proof that what they're saying is not crazy, we have some stuff that will surprise many fans. And the good thing is we also get to talk about people that usually are not in the limelight for when we talk about Bloodsport, for example. You know, we always have, okay, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and he's great, but Bloodsport is not only Jean-Claude Van Damme. There's an ensemble from great characters, like Don Gibb, who plays Ray Jackson, for example. Leah Iris, the love interest, Janice, who usually, I haven't seen her on any documentary sharing stories from Bloodsport. We got her. Then people who were working on set, who have never spoken about this and that kind of stuff. So, and also people who have been influenced by Bloodsport and had a career building of the inspiration of Bloodsport. So I think we have a great package, and it's a great addition to everybody's collection, which is why we need you guys to check out our Kickstarter campaign right now. I know that the fan... Yeah, the link obviously here, Ollie.
Somewhere.
I know money's not hanging in the trees, but I also know that a lot of you guys who have supported us in the past really appreciate what we do, and we always see each other like we as fans are a team. Everybody chips in what he can so that the project can happen, you know. And at the end of the day, hopefully we will have a premiere in Germany, in the UK, maybe even in the States, celebrating that movie, celebrating our childhood, our memories from back in the days with all the new knowledge. It has to be special, man. We're all gonna die soon, so let's make it special, man.
Yeah.
The documentary's not necessarily going to be on Bloodsport. We're going to discuss the sequels as well. We got all the knockoff movies, which Sean sent me this kind of list of ones he'd kind of remembered, and I was going, okay, right, trying to find these VHS tapes. I'm like, they're all starring Bolo Young. It's like, what's going on?
Or Don Wilson.
Or Don Dragon Wilson. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of fun movies to sort of go through, to sort of because that was one of the fun parts of the untold story of No Retreat, No Surrender. Is the crazy sequels, which had no connection, but they are technically a sequel. So it's that was a fun part. So I always love exploring the kind of the extended universe of a movie.
Yes, and we're going to talk about The Quest.
Yes. Oh my God.
Van Damme's version of Bloodsport, but with money.
But with money, set in the past. Well, I was so excited for The Quest when it came out, and it didn't quite live up to Bloodsport. But there's a lot of interesting stories behind that film, and obviously part of the Kickstarter deal is that we are doing a kind of a featurette on Kickboxer, because a lot of the people that worked on Bloodsport, there's a crossover into Kickboxer. Same producer, same composer, same obviously cinematographer on Bloodsport is now directing Kickboxer, David Worth. So we didn't want to leave that behind, and I suppose we didn't feel that there maybe perhaps I maybe didn't have the energy to do a whole long feature length on Kickboxer, but we thought we've got material there we can add as a special reward to the backers, so they don't feel kind of left out with Kickboxer as a talking point.
Daniel is actually agreeing, and from today it's only a few days before he's supposed to be with me and Ollie and Chris, and we're gonna shoot his story, which is also very amazing. So I think for fans, we are actually doing God's work. We're doing God's work.
Well, the funny thing is, with a lot of official documentaries, they leave things out, right? And you think there's always something they've missed when you watch an official, documentary. And it's often the case when I'm watching something and I'm like, oh, they missed out that film. Why didn't they discuss that? So in the sort of the benefit of the sort of the fan approach, the sort of crowdfunding way, is to explore everything that the fans want to know and cover everything, so you don't feel like you're sort of being shortchanged in a way. To provide the sort of the ultimate sort of package on that film,
but also to balance it with entertainment and pace.
Dude, mate, pacing. That is the key for entertainment.
Rather choose quality over quantity, and 2.5 hours of awesome non-stop entertainment is better than stretched out 4 or 5 hours of everything.
Why can't we just come up with a project and have it like one day later in our hands, already done? Like, I want to see the documentary now. I don't want to wait.
No, I enjoy the process. It's great. It's great finding.
Well, yeah, we got to do a lot more. Form. We got to do some crazy sort of B-roll stuff. We got to do once we finish crowdfunding. Me and Chris have got some ideas for, to sort of spice up the documentary visually, not just be like talking heads and clips on the movie. Because Chris, you've already done some animated graphics for the trailer, so we're going to really kind of use that a lot more to sort of tell the story. Because the stuff you can't. Bloodsport does have one sort of thing over No Retreat, is that Bloodsport has a lot more photographic evidence of how it was made.
Thank God. And
a lot more interviews as well, because it was, had more publicity. So that kind of benefits us as filmmakers to sort of tell a story. And I think with Chris and his kind of, his expertise in graphics, it's going to help kind of tell some of their amusing stories to be animated.
And hopefully when we interview Scott Adkins, he's going to do a splits kick or a helicopter kick for us. So that's the dream, to film Scott doing some martial arts. And
true. Yes said yes, but we haven't got him yet. Okay.
No. Yeah.
We should get him to get me in a headlock or something, or just do split kick.
No, just kick your head off. Oh.
Can't you just do the split and knock your ball?
Not the balls, man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Kick me in the balls, Scott. No, me, please.
So, okay, let's go back to early 90s, right? What was your first experience of Bloodsport?
Renting it from the video shop and watching it 100 times, and then going into school and kicking everyone's ass, primary school.
That's rubbish.
No, I didn't kick everyone's ass. I just pretended to, just jump and spin my legs around all the time. Hopefully it would take like a minute, but to them it was a second jump. And also, I made my first ever mini film I made, which was in college. It was a martial arts film with me versus one of my best friends, because we were both doing martial arts at the time. And I even ripped the scene off where he was getting beaten for ages by me, and then he ran off to my dad's garage and just started meditating like this on the floor. And then I come out of nowhere, slow-mo, and he grabs my hand and then kicks me, and I ripped that straight out. I was just like, yeah, that's mine now.
I had that sort of weird collection of Van Damme films early on, like Black Eagle, and what was the other one? The Cyborg and Lionheart. Lionheart at the time was like my favorite Van Damme film, because it felt a bit like it felt like Street Fighter. And then I saw Bloodsport afterwards. I was like, I was really torn between the two. Like, which one's... Is it Bloodsport or is it Lionheart? Lionheart's got the emotion at the end.
Ditto.
Lionheart! Just off the kick.
Yeah. He gonna kill your ass! Don't you know that? He gonna kill your ass!
That's what just had, the music and the energy there. It was so good. It was, I always went back to it. I think Bloodsport is definitely the one I've watched the most out of all Jean-Claude's movies.
Yes.
Maybe up there with Time Cop, completely different type of film, but,
I'm so glad we got Paul Herzog because of that soundtrack, and hopefully soon Stan Bush. I mean, the soundtrack of that film is one of the best things, and it's probably stayed the test of time more than the movie, because people are still listening to it down the gym, and it's probably getting listened to more than the movie gets watched, I'd say. That's how powerful the score was.
Oh, absolutely. And I also feel that we should really honor both of them in the documentary, give them all their flowers which they deserve.
Yeah.
Because especially Paul, he's very introverted, very shy. He ended his career after doing a martial arts from Breath of Fire, I think was the name, in the early 90s. And he was out of the game for,
a long
20-something years before I got him back for the last Kumite. And you can really see that his feedback that he gets comes from people who write him on Facebook. But he still didn't really understand like how huge his music is around the world. Especially with such shy people, I really feel that they should actually get their flowers, and we're gonna make it look nice for him and for Stan. But at the end of the day, with all the cool things that we want to do, it's in the hands of our Kickstarter people.
It is. We have about, as of recording this, we have about 23 days left of the Kickstarter, and we've gone over 50%, which is wonderful. So there's, we've seen a lot of the fans come out and support this. We obviously need more people to jump on board, and
we're going over 200%. That's what we need.
Realistically, in reality, I mean the mark that we set was the lowest that we need to some way somehow finish the documentary. Now, obviously, we're hoping for more. Yeah, because we also said that with this documentary, again, it's really not about the money. We want to make this as awesome as possible. And every cool idea that we have just simply costs money. The flights, the hotels, getting the fee for some people in front of the camera, renting equipment, all that kind of stuff. It is expensive, but we want to make this documentary so good. It has to be the most amazing martial arts documentary of all time. Saying this after the No Retreat, No Surrender documentary, I guess people know what we're talking about. We are 100% in it with our heart.
But yes, folks, we have just over 2 weeks left on the Kickstarter. If you want to jump on board, get a Blu-ray, get a signed autograph, get a poster, then check out the Kickstarter link below.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Gonna stick my